Good morning, Datin Arisha. Welcome to the session. How is your morning treating you in Kuala Lumpur?
Good morning, Miss Umairah. The weather is quite clear here. Thank you for asking. How are the logistics down at Port Dickson?
The setup went very smoothly last night, Datin. We are well prepared. Ah, good morning, Dato' Aidil.
Good morning, Ms. Umairah. Yes, luckily I am joining remotely today. So my only commute was to my study room. How is the rest of the team doing?
Everyone is in high spirit, Dato' Aidil. Good morning, Datin Nur Hidayah and Dato' Nurin. I hope you both are having a productive week.
Good morning, Ms. Umairah. It has been a packed week, but we are ready for today's deliberation. The audio feed sounds very crisp on our end.
Excellent to hear, Dato' Nurin. We have our technical crew monitoring the lines constantly.
Okay. Good morning, Tan Sri Chairman, Datuk Seri, and Datin Hani. Welcome to the 78th session. Our remote board members are fully logged in, verified, and ready on our main monitors.
Good morning, Miss Sarah. Good morning, colleague. It is good to see everyone on screen. It is exactly 8 a.m. I formally call this 78th Board of Director meeting to order. I want to welcome everyone joining us physically here in Port Dickson, as well as our director login via our secure remote participation and voting RPV visual platform. It is excellent to see that technology bridged our distance seamlessly today. However, given the weight of the item on our agenda today, absolutely focus is required from each of us, regardless of our physical location. Well, Ms. Sarah, could you please formally confirm our attendance and hybrid sensory quorum for this morning session?
Thank you, Tan Sri. First, I request Tan Sri Chairman, our Managing Director, Datuk Sri Fautul, and Datin Azni Hani to physically sign our formal attendance log here on the table. Thank you. For our remote directors on Microsoft Teams, your secure multi-factor authentication tokens have verified your digital presence, satisfying our corporate law requirement. A valid statutory quorum is present in the accordance with our company constitution to proceed with the legal agenda. Second, regarding our guest presenter, Chief Financial Officer, CFO Datin Seri Mazulaika Alia, and Head of Corporate Communication, Datuk Nur Atira, are currently in the digital lobby. They will switch on their camera and enter the feed only when their specific agenda items are called. Third, regarding our statutory voting methods, in strict compliance with Section 212 of the Companies Act 2016 and our company's constitution guidelines, all formal resolutions called today will be decided through a visible show of hands. This applies equally to hand raisers here in the boardroom and the digital hand signals on Teams. Our Secretariat Teams has developed a live canvas tracking matrix to log every vote in real time for accuracy. I now return the floor to the chairman to initiate our first agenda item.
Thank you, Ms. Sarah. The first item on our agenda is the formal confirmation of the minutes of our 77th Board of Director meeting held on Wednesday, 18 March 2026. The draft text was circulated in advance. I pass the floor back to the Company Secretary to manage our review.
Thank you, Tan Sri. The master minutes draft is in your possession for baseline evaluation. This historical record logs our previous proceedings, including our verified unencumbered liquid cash baseline position of 10.652 billion ringgit Malaysia. I invite comments, strategic clarification, or correction from the floor.
I have thoroughly reviewed the draft minutes. The narrative provides a true, detailed, and completely accurate reflection of our discussions and directives at the Hilton Petaling Jaya session. I see no need for amendments.
Excellent. If there are no objections from our remote member, I call for a formal motion to confirm the record as distributed. Do I have a proposal?
Tan Sri, I propose that the minutes be confirmed and signed as a true and accurate historical record.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Good morning, Tan Sri and board members. I bid to second the motion for the adoption of the previous minutes on my end.
The motion is proposed and seconded. The motion is carried. We will now address agenda item 2, which is matters arising from the previous meeting, documented under board paper number VT78 1505062. At our last session, this board expectedly instructed management to address ongoing audit adjustment regarding the corporate restructure budget. We expect a complete recognized report. Datuk Sri Fautul, please take the floor and update the board on this session item.
Thank you, Tasri. Please refer to board paper number VT78-1505-0206. Management has finalized two primary operational tracks designed to maximize group financial stability. Under track 1, our auditing configurations have successfully verified and locked our liquid cash and reserves baseline at an optimized level of RM 10.652 billion. This ensures massive capital legality for upcoming expansions, requires zero institutional debt leverage, and is strictly accepted by notation. Under track 2, directly answering the cost containment mandates under item 5 of our previous minutes, we executed a comprehensive efficiency sweep across our administrative and shared service segments by cutting out overlapping third-party systems. We captured RM 350,000 in net operational savings, locking our finalized audited corporate restructuring budget at a leaner project, ceiling of RM 34.85 million. Our strategic rationale is built on a 12-week phase deployment schedule restricted strictly to weekend windows. This completely insulates or active data migration and guarantee zero client facing SLA degradation or latency risks. I seek the board's formal approval and the adoption of the budget.
Thank you, Datuk Sri Fautul. The floor is open for the question.
The cost reduction is acknowledged, Datuk Sri Fautul. However, my primary concern as head of the Integrity and Risk Management Department has always been operational friction during divisional migration. Restructuring workflows must be strictly restricted to weekend cycles with active system backup redundancies to avoid any client-facing digital latency. Can management guarantee that this migration windows will not impact our active Tier 1 enterprise client service level agreement deliverables?
Yes, Datin Hani, we can guarantee that. The 12-week framework includes dedicated containment protocols specifically engineered to address and mitigate any localized operational latency before it affects our client workflows. The risk parameters are fully controlled.
Excellent. Let's check with our remote member. Datin Arisha, do you have any structured question from the remuneration perspective regarding this division element data?
Thank you, Tan Sri Chairman. No structural concern here. The human capital strategy mitigation plans outlined in Appendix A protect our core personnel during the division's migrations perfectly.
Great. I now open the floor for another question. Seeing no more queries, I call for a motion to endorse and adopt the finance restructure budget and its weekend deployment parameter. Do I have a proposal?
I propose the motion, Tan Sri.
I propose the motion from my end, Tan Sri.
Let us put the motion to a vote. Director, please raise your hand to signal your approval. Ms. Sarah, log the vote count. 5 out of 7 eligible voting directors have raised their hand in favor. The constitutional threshold is met. The motion is carried. Management is authorized to proceed with the deployment immediately. Let us proceed to agenda item 3, notation and strategic planning for the forthcoming 38th annual general meeting of Vaelith Technologies Berhad, scheduled for Wednesday, 26 August 2026. Ms. Sarah, please briefly open the item through our statutory compliance timeline and logistical structure.
Thank you, Tan Sri Chairman. Pursuant to the Companies Act 2016 and the main market listing requirements of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad, the company is required to table its ordinary business line out for shareholder transaction annually. Board Papers number 38 AGM03 set out our statutory blueprint. The forthcoming 38th Annual General Meeting AGM is scheduled for Wednesday, 26 August 2026 at 10 a.m. Malaysia time. To maximize shareholders' engagement and meet modern governance criteria, we will use a hybrid broadcast structure. The physical anchor location will be at the Grand Mahkota Ballroom Level 3, Vaelith Corporate Towers, where remote shareholder will use 3-course TIHH online platform for remote identity verification, real-time questioning, and secure electronic poll voting. To implement this setup smoothly, we present a specialized technology and administration budget totaling RM 175,000 ringgit for your validation. These funds are strictly limited to critical deliverable, virtual remote participation and voting RPV, platform software license, broadcast grade, multi-site audio-visual gigs, statutory printing, postage for registered depositors, and independent secretarial audit fee. This budget will introduce zero external cash drain, as it will be entirely absorbed under our Corporate Secretariat Division existing annual operational ledge baseline. I seek your approval for the framework and the tax layout for the official notice of Annual General Meeting AGM.
Thank you, Ms. Sarah. Are there any questions regarding this statutory arrangement? Let's call for a formal motion. Do I have a proposal?
I propose the motion to approve the logistical frameworks, budget lines, and notice tax, Tan Sri.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
I second the motion.
Excellent. Let us put the measure to a vote. Director, please show your hand. Ms. Sarah, record the final count. 5 out of 8 attending directors have voted in favor. The motion is carried. Let us move smoothly to agenda item 4. We now come to a very substantive item on our agenda, item 4, which is updated financial account and audited financial performance report of the company for financial year ended 31 December 2025 under board paper number VT78 AFY04. I formally hand the floor to our board member, Datuk Nurin, to present the update current year financial account.
Thank you, Tan Sri Chairman. Good morning, fellow directors. Please refer to Section 3 of Board Paper Number 1578 VFA04, which outlined our year-to-date active financial standing. operating allocations, and treasury performance metrics for the current quarters of 2026. I am pleased to report that our current year's accounts reflect a highly stable and resilient fiscal position. First, regarding our revenue and liquidity protection, our cash flow trajectories remain exceptionally strong, driven by steady collection cycle from our primary enterprise software contracts. Crucially, as highlighted in our treasury metrics, the group continues to preserve an uncovered liquid cash baseline locked securely at 10.652 billion. This is a massive liquidity reservoir is installed under strict capital preserver rule, guaranteeing that we maintain an immediate debt-free buffer capable of funding our large-scale technological roadmaps without creating structural credit lines, draw or institutional debt leverage. Second, on operational expenditures, our current year overheads are performed well within our project budget parameters. This discipline is heavily reinforced by the cost containment framework and the management efficiency sweeps discussed under item 2, which successfully capture a 350,000 in net saving by eliminating redundant third-party system integration. Our capital deployment pipeline are tightly controlled, ensuring that working capital remains optimized across all subsidiaries. In summary, our current year financial account confirm that the group preserves a robust, low-risk balance sheet, giving us a full operational agility as we embark on new capital commitments. Thank you, Tan Sri.
Thank you, Dr. Nurin, for that very comprehensive and detailed financial brief. I now open the floor to our director for any strategic queries, observation, or clarification required regarding this current year number. Since the current account are clear and noted by the board, I request our company secretary to bring in our next scheduled guest presenter.
Thank you, Tan Sri. Board members, with your permission, I am now admitting our Chief Financial Officer, Datuk Seri Mazulaika Alia, into the remote participation and voting (RPV) video stream to present our formally audited statements for the preceding financial year.
Mr. Park, handing over the floor. Please refer directly to the comprehensive attachment under board paper number BT78VF804, specifically focusing on our finalized financial statements for the period concluding 31st December 2025. I am highly pleased to formally table the audited financial performance report of Vaelith Technologies Berhad for the financial year ended 31st December 2025, financial year 2025. I want to explicitly state for the record that these accounts have undergone an exhaustive statutory audit and have been granted a clean, completely unqualified audit opinion by our independent external auditors, Messrs. Ernst and Young PLT. This confirms that our financial statements present a true and fair view of the group operational results and financial position in absolute compliance with the Malaysian Financial Reporting Standards and the Companies Act 2016. However, as part of our transparency commitment and rigorous corporate governance protocol, I must walk the board through specific technical realignments and adjustments that emerged during our final compliance reconciliation loops with the external audit team. First, we execute a series of localized asset reclassifications across our multi-tier data storage facilities and software as a service capitalized development lines. These technical adjustments were strictly classification based and carry an absolute net zero impact on our reported profit after tax or cumulative earnings per share. They were structurally required to align our long-term research and development capitalization curves with the newest accounting updates. Second, we have meticulously integrated updated regulatory disclosure compliance parameters under the latest financial reporting mandates issued for main market technology courses. This ensures our reporting frameworks remain completely robust against regulatory scrutiny. Management has already deployed into institutional mitigation controls to seamlessly absorb this accounting revision into our master database. Looking forward, these audited figures will establish our pristine financial anchor before we publicly dispatch them to the market forces and present them for the finalizing, adoption, and shareholder ratification at our forthcoming 38th annual general meeting AGM. I now submit this audited packet for the board's final evaluation, formal endorsement, and resolution.
Thank you, Datin Sri Alia, for that exceptional true presentation. I now open the floor for any queries and clarification.
Thank you, Tan Sri. I have a technical query for our Chief Financial Officer, CFO, regarding the localization adjustments. Datin Sri Alia, looking over the notes, could you explicitly clarify which specific compliance or valuation drivers triggered our localized asset reclassifications across the multi-tier data storage facilities? Furthermore, what precise measures has your division deployed to guarantee that these internal shifts have a strict net zero impact on our public market reporting lines?
Thank you for the query, Latin Hani. The reclassification were primarily driven by the newest capitalization rules governing multi-tenant cloud storage infrastructure and long-term data custody segments. Under previous timelines, a portion of our software optimization and cloud platform expansions were categorized as localized technology assets. However, current reporting revisions require these specific multi-tier architectures to be reclassified as capitalized service enhancements. To answer your second point, my team ran a dual reconciliation loop through our internal tracking software and cross-checked the data directly against the independent auditor's canvas ledgers. Because this modification strictly moves number between asset subledgers within our corporate balance sheet, it acts entirely as an allocation realigner. No operational cash was left in our treasury pools, and no structural earnings lines were modified. Thus, we have absolute auditing verification confirming a strict net zero impact on our reported profit after tax, cumulative margins, and earnings per share.
Thank you, Datin Sri Alia, for that comprehensive clarification. Datin Hani, does that fully address your technical query?
Yes, perfectly, Tan Sri. The financial insulation parameters and alignment measures are very clear. Thank you.
Excellent. Are there any other floating queries or follow-up points from our remote square feet? Seeing none, I call for a formal corporate motion to receive, ratify, and approve our audited financial year ended 31 December 2025, FY 2025, financial packet under board paper number VT78, VFA04. Do I have a proposal?
I propose the motion to approve our audited accounts as presented, Tan Sri.
Thank you, Datin Hani. Do I have a seconder?
I second the motion.
The motion has been formally proposed and seconded. Let us proceed to a vote by a show of hand. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Ms. Sarah, log the official count. 6 out of 7 eligible voting directors have raised their hand in favor of the motion. The constitutional majority threshold is met. The motion is declared as carried.
Tan Sri, moving to agenda item 5, which is review and approval of the proposed new logo and draft annual report of the company. The presentation will be delivered by our Head of Corporate Communication, Datuk Nur Atira. With the board's clearance, I am admitting her to our remote participation and voting RPV session now.
Good morning, Tan Sri and members of the board. Under board paper number VT78NLAR05, I am pleased to introduce the first segment of our branding milestone, which is the design layout for our proposed new corporate logo for Vaelith Technologies Berhad. If you refer to Appendix A of your packet, we have finalized 3 distinct design options for the board selection. To give full context for the board, our corporate re-anchoring paper present 3 discrete design options for your institutional consideration, each backed by distinct strategic rationales and roll-out expenditures. Option 1 features the futuristic microkernel grid. This option presents a high-end, highly stylized geometry layout using dynamic cyan and obsidian tones to symbolize our core software microkernels. The justification is absolute brand positioning as it signals our transition to an international main-stage automotive tech provider. The implementation budget is RM45,000, covering a complete overhaul of our software interfaces, web environments, and high-growth digital marketing pipelines. Option 2 utilize the linear circuit anchor. This design takes a traditional corporate approach, focusing on flat metallic line art that highlights our historical infrastructure legacy. The justification is stakeholder continuity, presenting a lower risk visual transition for the traditional investors. The associated budget is RM60,000 Malaysia, heavily weighted toward digital asset swaps without requiring major international media campaigns. Option 3 displays the minimalist sovereign monolith. It is a highly experimental single-tone asset optimized purely for low-resolution printing environments and application icons. The justification is high operational utility and immediate visual clarity across sovereign agency deployments. The budget sits at a lean baseline of RM50,000 Malaysia, bypassing broad enterprise risk scanning cycles. The comprehensive rollout models are detailed in slide 4. I now hand the floor open for the board's evaluation and selection. Additionally, we have compiled the full structural text of our draft annual report for financial year 2025, which integrates our audited financial metrics, corporate disclosures, and your own visionary chairman statement. We seek the board selection of the final logo option, approval of the associated branding guidelines, and authorization for mass distribution.
Thank you, Dr. Atira, for laying out the choices so transparently. Looking closely at the parameters, I want to state a strong preference and a proposal for option 1. Despite its smaller RM45,000 deployment budget, the strategic justification is undeniable. Its sleek, modern line work perfectly captures our forward-looking strategic vision as a high-growth tech entity, which far outweighs the conservative constraints of option 2 and option 3.
I completely agree with Datin Hani. Option 1 stands out as the strongest visual representation and represents a vital long-term asset for our premium brand positioning. I second her preference.
Hold on. I must voice an immediate objection here. Option 1 feels way too abstract for our institutional stakeholders. A budget of 55,000 for a visual skin swap lacks operational justification when option 2 or option 3 could satisfy basic corporate secretarial and ledger printing update for half the cost. Furthermore, the market timing for a full corporate rebranding right now could confuse our traditional retail base. We should look at the options to conservative modification instead.
I echo Dr. Nurin's concern entirely. Rebranding is not just changing a digital graphic. It requires massive capital deployment across all physical properties, branch signage and corporate stationery. Why throw 45,000 ringgit at option 1 when option 3 secures immediate visual clarity across sovereign agency deployments for 5,000 ringgit that amounts to 50,000 ringgit? Is this the right time to pull focus from operational cash flow?
With respect, Datin Hidayah, looking at option 3 is more vague and merely adding 5,000 compared to option 1. However, it is short-sighted. Bypassing broad enterprise risky cycles just leave us looking dead. If we push into international electric vehicles ecosystem with Project Nexus EV, our visual identity must look main stage. Option 1, microkernel grid layout aligns directly with the software tech narrative we are selling to Proton Malaysia.
Looking main stage should not mean overspending on dynamic cyan and obsidian. Pellets, our retail investor care about balance sheet stability, not dynamic tones. Tashri, a 60,000 budget for option 2 give us a perfect stakeholder continuity. It respects our history legacy while giving the market a safe, social visual transition while take unnecessary frugal risks with option 1.
Exactly. Option 1 is too experimental for our laid-back image. The obsidian tone might look sleek on a monitor, but it will read poorly on low-resolution regulatory print lodgements. Option 3 is optimized precisely for high operational utility. Let's be practical here.
Order, colleagues, order, please. Let us bring the temperature down and step back from this emotional argument. Rebranding is not merely about aesthetic preference, color tones, or short-term ledger tracking. It is a long-term strategic decision. Option 1 represents the exact visual anchor we need to signal our digital transition to international markets. The 2.5 million ringgit expenditure is fully justified by the global software partnership we are chasing. We cannot remain stuck in conservative layout like option 2 or utility baseline like option 3 if we wish to lead the next era. Let us resolve this structurally. I call for a motion to select option 1. Do I have a proposal?
I propose option 1 as our new logo, Tan Sri.
Do I have a seconder?
Second the motion.
We will decide this by an immediate vote. All those in favor of option 1 as our new corporate logo, raise your hand now. Miss Sarah, record the final count. In out of 8 director present have raised their hand. The selection of option 1 is approved. An acknowledgement after our debates.
Thank you, Tan Sri. Lodge. Dato' Atira, please proceed to present our second segment.
Thank you, board members. The second segment covers the master framework for our draft integrated annual report for financial year ended 31st December 2025. We have meticulously applied top-tier corporate reporting blueprints to systematically format our sustainability metrics, capital matrices, and executive commentary summarized. This design is optimized to elevate our investor relations profile.
Dato' Atira, I must step in and raise a strong objection to the current draft layout framework that your division has structured here. Looking at section 4, your team has pushed for expanded narrative disclosure regarding our long-term automated data pipelines and prospective software research and development milestones. These completely cross our strict financial non-disclosure boundaries and expose sensitive commercial data ahead of our market timelines.
With all due respect, Datin Sri, scaling back that segment heavily compromises our corporate disclosure rating. Institutional fund managers accept deep narrative substance. If we obscure our tech pipeline, Vaelith Technologies Berhad risks losing its position on the regional transparency index, which directly hurts our capital raising prospects.
Protecting our strategic data from competitors is what safeguards our capital, Dato' Atira. Transparency does not mean handing our proprietary roadmap to the public on a silver platter. Furthermore, your project operational allocation for the layout, production, premium text formatting, and direct postage logs is excessive. In a year where we are driving cost containment across share service, my division cannot sanction this budget ceiling. We must trim these lines back by at least 20%.
But trimming that budget means we sacrifice the physical quality of our flagship publication. This report will right alongside our new option 1, visual identity. If we skim on production value and distribute a low-cost, stripped-back document, we dilute the premium market positioning we just voted to establish. It undermines our whole brand strategy.
A premium logo does not require us to print over budget annual reports. Shareholders look at our audited profit lines, not the thickness or height and gloss of our paper stocks. We have to remain structurally prudent.
Ladies, please, let us look at this pragmatically. Datin Sri Alia is absolutely correct that we must shield our non-disclosure boundaries and maintain a tight grip on corporate expenditure. However, Dato' Atira's team is also correct that our investor communication must remain top tier to match our new market identity. I direct both teams to implement a balanced compromise immediately. Scale back the premium physical printing, material and postage logistics to cost-effective tier while refining the disclosure narrative to ensure full regulatory compliance without exposing our core data pipelines. Let us adjust the draft layout according to this instruction and move to a vote. Do I have a proposal to approve the annual report draft in principle?
I propose the motion, Tan Sri.
Good. Now may I have a proposal?
I second the motion.
Let us put the adjusted draft annual report to a vote. Show of hand, please. Ms. Sarah, record the count. 8 out of 8 attending directors have voted in favour. The motion is carried unanimously. We move to agenda item 6. Ms. Sarah, please lay out the statutory background before we hand over to our presenter.
Thank you, Tan Sri. In strict compliance with Article 120 of Vaelith Technologies Berhad and the statutory guidelines of the Companies Act 2016, one-third of our directors must retire by rotation at each annual general meeting AGM. I wish to emphasize that this rotation system ensures regular board refreshment while maintaining baseline governance stability. I now request that our board members, Datin Nur Hidayah, to present board papers number VT78 DCR06.
Thank you, Ms. Sarah. Good morning, Tan Sri Chairman and fellow members of the board. Please refer to the distributed copy of board paper number VT78 DCR06, which outlines our statutory rotation requirements for the upcoming 38th annual general meeting. For this cycle, we have 2 directors selected under our constitutional framework to retire from office. The first director scheduled to retire by rotation is Datin Nurul Arisha Emeline binti Johari. I am very pleased to inform the meeting that Datin Arisha has formally offered herself for re-election to the board, allowing us to retain her exceptional legal insight as an independent non-executive director. As itemized in appendix number VT78 DCR06 under our governance review sections, The nomination committee has thoroughly evaluated her performance metrics and strongly recommends her re-election pathway to the shareholders. We now seek the board's formal endorsement for this resolution.
Thank you, Datin Nur Hidayah. Let us handle Datin Arisha re-election motion first before we proceeding further. The floor is open for a formal corporate motion to support her re-election pathway at the upcoming 38th Annual General Meeting AGM. Do I have a proposal?
Tan Sri, I propose the motion to formally endorse Datin Arisha's re-election pathway to our shareholders. Her independent oversight remains incredibly valuable to this board.
Thank you, Datin Hani. Do I have a proposal?
I second the motion.
Before we put this to a vote, I would like to invite Datin Arisha to make a brief statement regarding her candidacy, her governance focus, and the supporting notes detailed in appendix number VT78 DCR06. Datin Arisha, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Tan Sri Chairman, and thank you, Datin Hani, for the nomination. Directors, as outlined in the legal secretarial background of Appendix number VT78 DCR06, my commitment for this upcoming term remains anchored squarely on elevating our board-level compliance frameworks, managing regulatory risk, and optimizing our governance structures as we expand. With our aggressive push into the electric vehicle EV software sector through initiatives like Project Nexus EV, our board must reinforce its risk mitigation strategies and maintain robust independent oversight. As a member of the Board Audit Committee, I intend to continue driving our internal cost containment checks and tracking our tax scalability expenditures to ensure long-term value for our institutional and retail shareholders alike. I am completely committed to supporting Vaelith executive roadmap, and I humbly ask for your structural endorsement as detailed in this board paper. Thank you, Tan Sri.
Thank you, Datin Arisha, for your clear vision, continuous dedication, and the throughout independent insight you bring to our operation. The motion has been formally proposed and seconded, and as put it to an immediate vote. All those in favor, please signify by show of hand. Ms. Sarah, record the count. 5 out of 5 eligible voting directors have voted in favor. The motion is carried unanimously. Datin Nur Hidayah, please walk us through our second rotation candidate.
Thank you, Tan Sri. The second director scheduled to retire under our rotation cycle is Datuk Siti Nurin Syafiqah binti Ridwan Shah. I wish to inform the board that Datuk Nurin has formally elected not to seek re-election for the upcoming term. Accordingly, she will step down from her seat and vacate her position as a non-independent non-executive director at the conclusion of the upcoming 38th Annual General Meeting. We request that the board formally log her retirement and her step down notice in our master corporate files.
Thank you, Datin Nur Hidayah. I call for a formal corporate motion to accept and record the upcoming retirement notice of Datuk Nurin. Do I have a proposal from the floor?
I propose the motion to record her retirement step-down notice, Tan Sri.
Do I have seconder?
I second the motion.
Let us put the notation to a vote. Show of hand, please. The count stands 5 out of 5 eligible voting directors in favor. The motion is carried. On behalf of the entire board and the management of Vaelith Technologies Berhad, I want to formally extend our deepest appreciation to Datuk Nurin for her year of dedication service, rigorous financial stewardship, and strategic contribution to this group. Your guidance has been vital to our growth, and we wish you the absolute best in your future endeavors.
Thank you, Tan Sri Chairman, and thank you to all of my esteemed colleagues. It has been an absolute honor to serve on this board and witness with Vaelith Technologies Berhad's incredible technology evolution. I have complete confidence that this leadership team will continue to drive the groups to new height in the next era. Thank you.
We now move to agenda item 7 regarding our major corporate expansion. Ms. Sarah, please lay out the compliance parameter first.
Thank you, Tan Sri. This high-value venture allocation is introduced pursuant to the liquidity guidelines set out in Board Papers number VT78 VSP07. The comprehensive strategic briefing will be presented directly by our fellow board members, Dato' Aisha. However, before I formally hand the floor over to her, I request formal permission from the board to invite our Special Project Manager, Ms. Fatima, to join the session to present the technical implementation timeline. May I receive verbal clearance from the floor to admit her to the stream?
Directors, do we have any objection to admitting the Special Project Manager? The board grant unanimous permission. Ms. Sarah, please proceed to admit her and pass the floor to Dato' Aisha.
Thank you, Tan Sri. Admitting Ms. Siti now. Dato' Aisha, please take the floor.
Right, thank you, Ms. Sarah. I hope you all can hear me well. Good morning, country and fellow directors. Please turn your attention to appendix number VT78VSP07. The management is incredibly proud to formally introduce Project Nexus EV, which is a long-term strategic technology collaboration with Perusahaan Otomobil Nasional Sdn Berhad or Proton. Under this milestone arrangement, Vaelith Technologies Berhad will serve as the exclusive Tier 1 provider tasked with designing, building, optimizing, and also maintaining Vaelith Drive OS, our proprietary, highly secure automotive operating system engineered explicitly to power Proton's next-generation electric vehicle ecosystem. To fund the initial 18-month microkernel engineering, multi-platform coding architecture, and intensive microkernel research and development rollout phase, we present an exploratory project budget of 50 million ringgit Malaysia. I want to emphatically highlight to the board that this entire capital allocation will be drawn directly from our accumulated strategic mergers and acquisition and also tax scalability pool. This ensures our venture creates zero institutional debt, zero external credit draw stress, and also zero structural disruption to our baseline operation. Furthermore, to protect our absolute engineering agility and circumvent standard operational bureaucracy, we propose the direct appointment of Ms. Siti Fatima Azahra binti Kamaruddin as lead special project manager. She will operate with a direct reporting governance line straight to the managing director and the board audit committee. I now hand the floor to Ms. Fatima to elaborate on the technical milestone.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha. Good morning, Chairman and board members. If approved today, the digital infrastructure and database encryption setup for Vaelith Drive OS will be deployed immediately in phase 1, followed by rigorous policy mapping and external legal consultation. Our technical roadmap is structured into high-performance engineering stream to guarantee zero system latency. We target a full operational go live of the cloud connection gateways and secure web portal within 60 days. Furthermore, our technical metrics target a system trust index with zero identity exposure and a 95% completion rate for initial case triage within 48 hours of receipt for the integrated safety clusters. We are committed to concluding the phase 1 architecture wireframing within 4 months and delivering a functional ready system test will within our strict 18 months execution timeline. I am ready to form a specialized automotive software task force to begin these engineering sprints alongside our technical divisions immediately. Thank you, Tansri.
Thank you, Ms. Fatima, for that clear technical projection. This venture represents an extraordinary vertical for Vaelith Technologies Berhad. I now open the floor to our director for any queries, operational observation, or validation point regarding Project Nexus EV. Seeing that the technical roadmap and funding models are fully transparent and acceptable, I call for a formal corporate motion to adopt the resolution. Do I have a proposal?
I propose the motion to approve Project Nexus EV as presented, Tan Sri.
Thank you, Datin Hani. Do I have a proposal?
I second the motion, Tansri.
Let us put the special project proposal to a vote. Director, please show your hand to Senate approval. Ms. Sarah, log the official count. 5 out of 7 eligible voting directors have raised their hand in favor. The motion is carried. We now move to our final formal agenda item, which is any other business. Ms. Sarah, please guide the board through our corporate secretary notation.
Yes, Tan Sri. In strict compliance with paragraph 17 of the third schedule and section 212 of the Companies Act 2016, I am tabling board papers number VT78 ORB08A to formally notify and record an urgent director circular resolution that was unanimously signed and passed by all eligible members of the board outside of formal session. This resolution, carrying the reference number VTB/DCR/2026-03, was finalized with the final director signature on 15 May 2026. It guaranteed formal corporate approval for the immediate renewal of Vaelith Technologies Berhad's core Secure Enterprise Cloud Infrastructure Service license with our Tier 1 digital vendors. The total expenditure is capped at an amount not exceeding 4.2 million ringgit Malaysia, which is funded entirely from our optimized internal cash flow reserve. This paper is presented for formal minutes keeping purposes so that the signed resolution can be appended as an official addendum to our master minute book.
Thank you, Ms. Sarah. The board formally acknowledged and endorsed the signed director secretary resolution under reference VTB/DCR/2036-03 for our operational minute keeping record. Ms. Sarah, please ensure the fully executed copy is appended as an addendum to the final clean minutes of today's meeting. Are there any other business or floating points that any director wish to bring forward before we conclude? There being no further business to discuss, I want to express my deepest appreciation to all members of the board our Chief Financial Officer CFO, and our project leads for your highly active participation, clear strategic clarity, and excellent executive focus throughout this hybrid session. We have successfully finalized our auditing result, adopted a powerful new corporate visual identity, secure our operational budgets, and clear the path for a highly successful 38th annual meeting AGM. Our next board session is expected to take place in September 2026, and our secretary will issue the formal 14-day notice windows accordingly. Thank you everyone, stay safe, and I hereby declare this 78th Board of Director meeting officially adjourned.
Dearest board members, before everyone unmutes to disconnect their virtual remote participation lines, I humbly request all directors to stay logged in for just one brief administrative announcement. On behalf of the company secretariat department, I would like to formally notify you that we will be hosting a short follow-up meeting tomorrow morning, Friday, 19 June 2026 at 9:30 a.m. The explicit objective of this brief session is to gather information and consolidate all the strategic feedback, technical disclosure, and operational parameters discussed during today's intense 78 Board of Directors meeting. This will ensure our division logs an absolutely precise data framework prior to compiling the definitive statutory minutes layout for lodgement.
Thank you, Ms. Moira. That is a very prudent approach. I will ensure my notes are ready for the data consolidation work.
Log into my calendar, Ms. Omaira. It is a great mechanism to make sure all minor realignments are truly captured.
Much appreciated, directors. For our local attendees here at Polison, premium light refreshment and lunchbox have been served at the main dining lounge just around the corner. For our remote members, we would like to formally send you off and thank you once again for your incredible executive focus today. Please have a safe and wonderful afternoon ahead. Thank you.